Wow, what a show! I'm here at the Caroline concert and it has been amazing. She's about to play the last song of the night. Here we go.
Thank you to all my carolers for being such a great audience tonight. I have one last surprise in store for you, inspired by my love of poetry and the magic of metaphors. Metaphors have the power to connect ideas and deepen our understanding. Nobody knows this better than poets, especially William Shakespeare with his timeless sonnets. For my final song, I want to share his words with you through my music. This is Sonnet 73, Caroline's version.
That time of year thou mayest in mead behold, when yellow leaves or none a few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Bear reverent cries where late the sweet bird sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away. Death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long.
Thank you. Good night, carolers.
Wow, she really just did that. Phenomenal. And I've been invited to go backstage. Stay tuned. I'll be back reporting live from Caroline Country right after this. I have big news, carolers. Guess who just scored an interview with Caroline next week? Me! She's been performing so many classic poems on her tour and wants to join us to talk more about poetry. Whew, I'm kind of nervous. Help me get ready by practicing some poetry analysis skills. Caroline shared a Shakespearean sonnet with us, and those can be tricky. Let's dig into Sonnet 73 together to uncover the metaphors that can help us make meaning of this poem. Let's look at the first 4 lines. In a sonnet, this is called a quatrain. The first thing I notice here are the yellow leaves and boughs where sweet birds once sang. This makes me think of a tree in autumn that has lost most of its leaves. Now, the next thing I notice is an important feature of Shakespearean sonnets. His sonnets are always addressed to someone specific. The word thou is an old-fashioned way of saying you. So he is really saying to someone, you may see this autumn tree in me. This is a metaphor comparing the speaker of the poem to a tree that has lost its leaves. So what comes to mind when you think of a tree in autumn? Okay, so your thinking about the tree can now be applied to your understanding of the speaker. So what does the metaphor tell you about the speaker? Like the tree, the speaker has moved through the seasons of his life from a time of vibrance to a time of loss. What kind of mood does this create? This metaphor creates a nostalgic and somber mood right from the start. You may notice that Shakespeare is using implied metaphors in his poem. These are not directly stated, but can be inferred by paying close attention to the words the poet has chosen. So let's find out what metaphor is implied in the next quatrain. What do you notice is being compared here? Pause the video so you can read and think. The speaker is comparing his own life to the passage of time in a day. He has reached twilight, which means night or death is approaching. This comparison of a human life to the passage of time from day to night uses the power of metaphor to help us think beyond the literal words. When you think about the passage of a day from morning to afternoon, then from twilight to night, what images and ideas come to mind? I'm thinking about how this cycle happens every day. It's a natural process that we all experience, just like aging. It inspires thoughtful reflection on life's temporary nature and the inevitable approach toward its end. So Shakespeare didn't need to say all of that in this short poem. By comparing the speaker's view of his life to the passage of time from day to night, we can apply everything we think about twilight to the speaker's life. Metaphors help poets say so much without needing to say much at all. So what does Shakespeare say next? The next quatrain uses the same metaphor of the passage of time, but through a fire that is burning out. So Shakespeare has done something special here. We have a metaphor that extends across this whole poem. The natural passage of time can be seen in the trees, in the progression from day to night, and even in a fire burning. What might this extended metaphor be saying about the speaker's view on life throughout the poem? Through 3 different examples from nature, the poem reveals a bittersweet reflection on life. Death may be inevitable, but it is part of a natural cycle all living things experience. Well, all we have left here are 2 lines. This is called a couplet, and it should really help tie the sonnet's theme together. Let's read it. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. Pause the video for a moment and really think about how these lines add to your understanding of the poem. To put these lines in more modern language, the speaker is directly addressing the person that he loves by saying, "You realize that you'll soon have to part with the one you love, which makes your love even stronger." The couplet totally changes the tone of the poem. Now the speaker shifts from somber reflection to a declaration that the inevitability of death makes love stronger. It makes me think about valuing the time we have with our loved ones. Whoa, we said a whole lot more as we discussed the sonnet than Shakespeare actually wrote. That's because the real power of metaphors is in tapping into what we know about one thing to help us understand another. Shakespeare didn't have to write line after line telling us what to think about life and death. He just compared it to relatable, natural processes and allowed us, as the readers, to apply our understanding. I'm definitely feeling more prepared to have an intelligent conversation with Caroline about poetry next week, but I want to keep practicing. How about you? Well, you'll be reading 3 more poems this week that use the magic of metaphors and other techniques to make a whole lot of meaning without needing to use a whole lot of words. I'll see you back in the studio for our next episode, where the Caroline will join us to discuss the power of poetry and the poet's point of view. Keep wandering in the world of words, and I'll catch you in the next line.